Hello, hello, beautiful people. Courtney here with Stars of the Morning Light. And no, I'm not in my office, I'm in my kitchen. If this is your first time coming to this channel, welcome. There's some great information here. Stars of the Morning Light is a resource platform for all things spiritual. You can go to the website and you can book sessions for Akashic Record readings, quantum healing, stuff like that. But you can also read blogs and free meditation podcast. So enjoy. And today, though, I do want to say I am probably not going to get to doing the sections about the soul. We had done inner flame / spirit. We had done the ego, and we're supposed to move into soul. It is Christmas week. So I am hopping on today and then again sometime this week for just short videos about something because, well, like right now after this, I'm going to be baking cookies. So everybody's schedule gets a little wonky, a little unexpected, not of the norm at the holidays. So, and I want to dedicate more attention to when we start talking about the soul. So today, actually, when I was trying to prepare for the soul, I was trying to put this in a little bit, but I'm not thinking it's gonna maybe sort of fit, because I'm trying to minimize some of it. I want to talk about a phrase, a term that we use, which is good, but it has become in this like second round of like pop culture, awakening experience, pop culture stuff. It's very loosey-goosey used. And so let's clarify some things, okay? And that is referring to it as your higher self, okay? I'm sure we've all heard that term. This comes up a lot. People ask me this question a lot, and it's also more in-depth explanation is a part of my shadow work course that I do every fall into winter. It's like a 4-month huge shadow work course. Oftentimes I get weary. I get a little bit concerned of how loose we use that term because there's different aspects there. And so when we do start meditating and we do start trying to tap into our higher self, oftentimes we're actually not speaking to our higher self. Let's explain. So let's just make it very clear that before we even talk about higher self, there's actually most people that begin and really start to develop skills also in dreams. Many of us meet what is actually one of our parallel lives selves. What I mean by that is most of us have met either 2 to 3. Most of us know at least 2 or 3 of parallel lives to, not this current life, but a parallel life. Like I had a client once, she brought it up because she was kind of very confused because she would be in this dream world and it'd be her and it'd be maybe her and her husband. And it was so good and so great that when she actually woke up and kind of came back to this reality, she was disappointed. She kind of was a little bit sad because it was so good in that dream. And it always happened with her. And she was wondering, is that going to be us in the future? But it felt like now we look the same. And so I had to explain to her that no, that is usually another parallel world self. Meaning there are parallel worlds, and we are going to discuss this at some point in Stars of the Morning Light. There are parallel worlds, and they're very close to ours. I mean, very close. I mean, we will go into it at one point. just kind of take what I'm saying. So we'll dream or meditate or something, and all of a sudden we see ourselves and maybe the person we're involved with or parents or whomever along with us. And sometimes it can be that. It can be, oh, wow, this is wonderful. Other times it can be really dark. Other times it can just be like, oh, that's me doing kind of the same job I do now. And, little things are different, okay? I'm bringing that up because what I have found in my years is that when people start meditating or they start using dream work, they tend to think that that is their higher self. Because you can communicate with that person in that parallel world. You can. Yourself in a parallel world. And for some reason, we think that they are higher because they know all this stuff, when in reality, they just know different than us. Like, we know what we know. We know our life here, and we know what we know here. So if we talk to someone in a parallel life, and they seem to give good sage advice, or they seem to have their shit together better than us, or whatnot, we tend to think that, oh, that's our higher self, and it's not. That just because they know something different than us doesn't mean that they're higher than us. They're just in a different parallel world. They just know differently. I hope this is making sense. So like with me, I will tell you, I know of at least 3. One, I don't know how to say it. She's much more hippie, you know what I mean? Like, she's got, like, it's me, with like dreadlocks, and she works the farmer markets, and she does this, and she's very, and nothing against that. I'm cool. Just I'm not so much that, in this place. Then there's another one who's much more, man, like, she wears suits to work, and she's a straight arrow is what that one is. And so I'm kind of like a mixture of the two. You see what I'm saying? And then there's one that's extremely dark. I hate when I encounter that world. Okay, it seems like that entire world is dark. So I just hate encountering that. So that's what I'm saying. So like when I first many moons ago, when I first started working in this stuff, I first met the straight arrow one, and I was like, whoa, that's gonna be me in like 20 years. And that was not the case. That was just her doing her job, doing it really good. She's boss, man. She's bossing it. And then a few years later, I meet the hippie girl, and I was like, is that gonna be me? Like, am I gonna be some flower child? Okay, that would be a complete 180, but okay, like, cool. No, that's her doing her thing. You see what I'm saying? So when we start trying to tap into actual higher selves, they're not higher than us. They're actually they come to me now for advice, as I might go to them for advice, because they might just have a different perspective on stuff. Except the dark one. I don't talk to that one. You see what I'm saying? Like, they might just have a different perspective on what I should do. Or oftentimes I might talk to the hippie one because she knows way more about plants than I do. Do you see what I'm saying? So we can still utilize them. We can still use them. We can say hello to them. We can talk to them in our meditations, in our dreams, all sorts of stuff. But they are not our higher self. They just know differently, so it appears sometimes that they are higher. Okay, so let's talk about actual higher self. There's a few different ways that we can look at this. So there is the higher future self, meaning I spend quality time with my higher future self, because if you're on the path of enlightenment, if you are on the path of trying to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, if you're on that path, you do have the potential to meet who you will be in your later years. That is your future higher self, because you will have evolved. You will have become higher conscious in whatever ways, okay? So I tend to talk and communicate and view and see and work with my 65-year-old self, 20, 30 years down the road. That is my future higher self. She can tell me, no, Courtney, you need to actually start here because that'll lead into this. Because why? She lived it already. Does that make sense? She's already done it. And I might tap into her and be like, so I don't know what job to take, what not job to do, what this and that. And she can tell me, well, you should do this because that's what you did and da-da-da. This is how it worked out. Or I did this. I suggest maybe doing another path, So you can tap into them as well. There's actually a great meditation on my podcast at Stars of the Morning Light that is to meet your future higher self in a meditation and then sign a contract with them. To sign that you are going to truly start becoming your better future higher self of this existence, of this plane of reality. Do you see what I'm saying? Of this timeline. So I will, I'll put that down there. It's a really good meditation. You can meet your future self that's 30, 40, 60 years down the road, and they can help you, and you can sign a contract with them saying, you know what? I am going to dedicate myself to becoming you. Okay? Now, let's talk about, see, there's a lot, this is why I get a little frustrated when we just loosely say things, higher self, because that really can represent so much, and it can also confuse people when they meet a parallel person in their dreams, or they're in a meditation, all of a sudden who they are at 60 something comes to them and is like, hey, it's too selective. We really got to narrow it down to be very loose with just saying higher self. Now, in the way that most people, because the problem is then we get confused as to who we're talking to. How most people are trying to represent or talk about higher self is a higher state of consciousness. Like how we talked about the 3D, then 4D being all like in the mind, heart, throat area, trying to align those things, getting out of the polarity into 5, that is the rescuer of us, that we can manifest, That is what people are trying to speak about, is the higher conscious level self. The higher conscious level self. That's how these terms really need to be explained more. So higher conscious self is that part of you, especially if you tap into that flame that moves up to the great fire, and you can start moving into these different dimensions. Okay, so part of you most likely right now is tapping into 5D. Just tapping in, right? We're just tapping into 5D, right? Well, then the more you can tap in, the more you're in 5D, the more you can bring your vibrations up and feel the positivity, the compassion, the love, and you can work in that space. The more your mind can, your heart, throat, mind can, then your higher conscious then will move up even higher to 7. This is where that concept of being the observer, and then witnessing yourself observing, and then being the witnesser of the witnesser, stuff like that. That all comes into play when our current timeline self becomes more awakened and our conscious starts working in higher levels, higher dimensions, in the 5, the 7, the 8, 9, you know what I mean? Like when we can start doing that, that is your higher conscious self of this current timeline. Okay? That is not the same as yourself in parallel worlds or yourself necessarily in an older age. Your higher conscious self does see it as the all. It sees itself connected to everything. It sees itself all is mind, as we are trying to study. It sees itself like that, how everything is connected. And it views yourself without judgment, with compassion, with releasing all the anger, stuff like that. The higher conscious is able to do that. The higher conscious self. Now, your higher future self might still have some stuff to work on. Who knows? None of us are perfect and none of us are going to get this correct. We're living beings, and that's the joy of all this. So I'm just putting that in there because that term is used so loose and it confuses people, and then nobody really knows who they're trying to seek out or what they're trying to do, to expand their consciousness. It confuses. And why live in confusion? That sounds like 3D to me. So I just want to put that there. I wanted to put this out too, because then I can always use this a little bit as a reference when we're talking about the soul, because I am going to have to maybe talk a little bit more about this, because about the consciousness stuff and the subconscious. But, so this is a reference video, I guess, for also parallel worlds and all this other jazz. But use this knowledge that when you are listening to stuff, you can have discernment about which self are you talking to? Which self should you be seeking? I mean, oftentimes, guys, I focus less on, I want to have my higher conscious self all over the place. I focus more on, am I going to become the person that I know I can? Am I working towards becoming her? Because I actually like her more than I like me right now. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm working towards that goal because I know she's got it going on with all the stuff that I want. My future higher self has what I want. So am I working towards becoming her? So, once again, there will be a meditation attached to this. And be patient with me because it is the holidays and the soul stuff is going to come. And I am also going to do another video, I don't know, sometime either today. I'm trying to get it out before the holidays too, of how to kind of shield ourselves from energy and how to sage ourselves really well using our 3 pyramids inside, okay? So I love you all. Have a good day. Merry Christmas if this is the last that we see of each other. I hope it's not, but Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever festivities that you and your family choose to celebrate. I just love it. I love traditions. I love celebrations. I love it all. I love when people come together. Even if there is a little turmoil, I still love it because it's expressions of ourselves that either we have to work through or we have to love and accept. And so either or, it's all good and gravy. Love you guys. Mwah. Namaste.